This episode of the podcast is sponsored by a company called Wax and Relax. And that's not the cracks on the backs and everything else. That is wax melt, guys. And they provide handcrafted and homemade wax melts in all your favourite fragrances. Support a small business and check out their website, www.waxandrelax.co.uk. They smell beautiful, guys. I've just had my delivery and they make the room. I get into my mantra and my zen.
In that shirt, yeah.
And I get my wax melts on from Wax and Relax, and I'll go into a different world, man. And they smell amazing, and they're handmade, they're handcrafted by the people who sell them.
Made with love.
Made with love. And why at this time would you not support a small business? So yeah, please check out waxandrelax.co.uk.
Say, goddamn. You said, all right. I said, let's do a podcast. Let's sit down. Let's get a coffee. Let's just talk about 1, 2, 3, 4. Coffee with the Sam. Got a little podcast. Grab yourself a little coffee and a podcast.
What's up, guys? And welcome to the Coffee with Sam podcast. Today is a very special episode. One is Pancake Day. And I'm sorry it's going to be coming out the day after Pancake Day, because that's the day that I release my podcast. So I'm here joined by probably the best guest that you guys will get to listen to and I will ever get to have on here. And it is MOMMA Thompson. Say hello, MOMMA Thompson.
Hello, everybody.
She's not very confident, but she's going to relax on the microphone because she's just as loud as I am in real life. I'm sorry for the troubling. But it's Pancake Day, so I couldn't do a podcast without pancakes and coffee. So yeah, welcome to the show. Thank you for everyone listening. Thank you for everyone viewing. Oh, these are good, man. Thank you for everyone sending their messages in of support to coffeewithsampodcast@gmail.com. Now, today's episode, I was going to do it on my own, and it's basically a who is Sam Thompson and what is the Coffee with Sam podcast. But I thought, who knows me best than my mum? So I thought, why not get her on? So, I was born 1991. I'm not going to tell a month or date because I've got hackers. Alex's whole system's been hacked, so I'm not trusting anybody with any of my information. So I was born in 1991. Now, my birth, before I was even born, I was a nightmare. Is that right, Mum?
Definitely.
So, why? What happened? So, when did you find out you were pregnant?
About the second week in April.
And how many months gone were you?
6 months.
6 months gone?
Yes.
You were already gone when you found out 6 months?
Yeah.
I thought I was born 6 months.
No, you were born at 7 months.
7 months. I thought you were only 3 months pregnant when you found out.
No. I knew in the April.
Yeah.
Count up.
Yeah. And you're born in June.
Yeah.
Wow. So she was 6 months pregnant and didn't know. Was that because you were chunky, Mum?
Yeah, probably. Possibly.
She didn't even know.
Possibly. But I hadn't put much weight on, or you couldn't see that I was pregnant.
So you found you were pregnant in April. So you knew you were pregnant for a month and a bit, because we're not going to give away my date of birth.
Yep.
So you knew you were pregnant for a month and a bit. Then I came early.
Yep.
So the first nightmare was you found out you had a baby.
Yep.
You didn't even want. Why?
Because I'd got 2 children.
Yep.
A boy and a girl.
Yep.
And that seemed to be the ideal family, money-wise.
Mum, why are you acting so professional and talking so perfect? Jesus Christ, you're like Neil on the camera.
I'm sorry.
You're like, oh, so yeah. So basically, she had the contraception thing in, the coil fitted. please check out waxandrelax.co.uk. So she didn't want me, guys. So without a mistake and without that thing not working 30 years ago, obviously they work a lot better now. 30 years ago, you wouldn't have the best human being on the planet.
But what would I done without you?
That's what I mean. So, you then found out. So the first thing is 7 months pregnant. Baby you don't want. Then I come 3 months early. No, 2 months early.
2 months early.
2 months early. Whilst you are on holiday, correct?
Yep.
So the family were away down in Truro.
Yeah.
And then I just decided I was coming out.
Yeah, we'd gone to have an early holiday because of when you were due.
Yeah.
So that we could have a family holiday prior to you being born. And obviously the traumas of having a new baby and everything else. And we went to have a family holiday.
And that was cut how short?
It was only a few days. We were due to come back. Sam, it was 30 years ago. I can't remember.
When they get older, they start to forget, guys.
But it was...
the best thing that ever happened to her. And she's forgetting about it.
It was only a few days before we were due to come back.
What did Jason and Claire... Jason and Claire are my big brother and sister. Were they annoyed?
No. No, they were just ready to come home whenever.
Were they happy that they had a random brother or sister that they didn't know they were having?
They didn't really give any opinion on it. I think they were quite happy that what was happening.
They're gutted now because I just take the limelight. But
well, they say you're the favourite now.
Well, people say that I can see why. Like, you know what I mean? So then you give birth. So there's like so many problems there. Got through the coil. Didn't even know she was pregnant. Came early. Then what is it like? Like having this new baby that you didn't want. Did you want it? Once I came, did you want
yes, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
I think she's lying, guys.
I had no problems with that.
Just the old man.
No, he was quite happy as well.
That's why he left.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, he did.
No, well, we don't really know why he left, do we?
Ooh, she's done him there. If you're listening, Dad, she's just done you there.
Well, we don't.
So then from there, what was I like as a baby?
A nightmare.
We could just fast forward right now to 2021 then and say, what am I like now?
A nightmare.
And that's thank you for listening, guys. That was Coffee with Sam podcast. This is a special of getting to know Sam and who is Sam Thompson. And that's all you need to know. No, joking. So as a baby, what was I like?
You didn't like to sleep.
Okay. Is that it? It's 30 years ago.
I'm sorry. Oh no. No, you didn't like to sleep, but once you were a toddler, you weren't too bad. But obviously, as you've just previously said, your dad left us, and you were only just.
Boo.
You were only just 18 months old, weren't you? I think when your dad left us. So
big shout out to all the single moms out there that are listening.
So then I'd got you and a 9-year-old and an 11-year-old to bring up on my own. So unfortunately, there were things that you probably got away with that you shouldn't have got away with, to make it easier for me.
Yeah.
And obviously growing up, you'd got your brother and your sister that used to, I've lost the words.
Bully me?
No. Treat you to things that probably you wouldn't have had with them being older. They could afford once they were working and that, as we all got older, and they were working, then they treated you to things because you were so much younger. So you had quite a nice upbringing in a way, because they treated you as well as me.
Going back to you saying I don't sleep, that's literally me now. Was I always on the go as a child? Like was I always like non-stop, not sleeping? Then when I go a bit older, was I just on the go?
You didn't need a lot of sleep as a youngster. You didn't need a lot of sleep.
I'm old now. I need loads. please check out waxandrelax.co.uk.
No, you used to be able to manage without a lot of sleep.
Do you think that explains what I'm like now? When I'm just like on the go and I don't stop, and if I sit down for 10 seconds I get annoyed. Like podcast is probably the longest I ever sit down and sit still.
I don't know. I can't say. I mean, you know, growing up, you used to keep yourself busy. You know, when you used to go out lots of bike rides and things like that.
What I'm trying to get at is like what I look like now, what I'm like now. If you could say, "Oh, this is what you're going to be like in the future," is that what my toddler or baby looked like? Do you know what I mean? Like overactive brain, not sleeping. Was I always on the go, moving, picking, playing?
Yes, you probably were. Fairly active. Yeah.
So then once I go to, let's go primary school. I can't really tell you much about, winning Carnival baby, best looking baby, which, Alex should be very proud of, that her fiance is won the best looking baby in Carnival. I don't really know much about being a youngster, toddler. What was I like at preschool? Or was in trouble, or was
no, you were fine. You just sort of went and enjoyed it, and just got on okay with everybody.
So I wasn't naughty.
No, not at preschool. No.
So I have like little memories. Like I remember having a dinosaur bike. Did Claire or Jason help me ride it at Paulie View in Polesworth? Big shout out to Paulie View in Polesworth. I had stabilisers on it.
Probably.
I just remember that dinosaur bike. I don't know. And then I remember shooting guns with Safety Dave.
Yes.
That's when we got a bit older though.
That's when you were in Cubs.
So we've got a family friend. Mom's wink at the camera. Family friend. Wink wink. Family friend. He used to bring guns around, pellet gun, handguns. We used to shoot them in the garden. Great parenting there, Mum.
It was part of scouting. That's where they were
maybe
from.
Maybe not in your back garden though.
No,
maybe at a shooting
not.
range or somewhere, not in the back garden shooting utterly buttily tubs.
You just had extra tuition.
So yeah, I can't really remember much. I remember that going into that. So going from primary school into which way did you go around? Which way does it?
Preschool, then primary
school. What was I like in primary school? So we moved schools, didn't we? I remember that.
Yes. You did move school. You moved school.
From Polesworth to Dorden.
When you were about 8. Yeah, when you were about 8, you moved up to Dorden School.
So what was I like in primary school? Oh, she's having to think about this now.
I've got to watch what I say.
Why have you? Let it all out.
You weren't very well behaved, shall I say. I think you were very easily distracted.
Now, going back to what were you saying as a child, not wanting to sleep, very overactive. Would that then move into going to a school when they now want to try and make me sit down for an hour at a time and talk to me about something that maybe I'm not interested about? Was I being naughty? Was I rude? Was I swearing?
Not as far as I know. You never got into trouble for being rude. You were just didn't have a lot of concentration. When it was never said about you being overactive. It was just, I think, that once you'd done what you've got to do, then you just distracted other people and were very easily distracted by other people.
In this day and age, I would have probably got you're ADHD.
You probably would, but you weren't.
No, ADHD is
definitely not.
ADHD is just a bored child. I'm sorry.
No, not always. There is cases where it's not.
You're making someone. We're not made to sit in classrooms and listen to someone talk about something we don't want to listen to. Like, we're made to be outside. You wouldn't tell a child whilst they're out riding their bike constantly, they've got ADHD because they constantly want to be on their bike. Or they're riding their bike and then they see something else and then they want to go and look at that tree or that bridge or that landscape. That's not ADHD because their mind's just suddenly gone away from riding the bike to wanting to look at that. That's just exploring. So when you're in a classroom, what's any different that 1 minute you're doing mathematics, then 20 minutes in you don't want to do mathematics anymore, you want to draw a picture? That's not ADHD.
No, I agree.
Or you're not interested in counting, or you're not interested in English, you're not interested in drama or anything like that, and you want to talk to your friends about what you're doing after. That's not ADHD. That's just, I don't want to listen to this overpaid numpty at the front trying to teach me something. I don't want to be taught.
Yeah.
That was always my argument.
Yeah.
I'm bored.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Like, what subjects did I pass in high school? I know we're skipping from there, from primary school to high school. What are my 2 subjects that I actually got B's in and could have got A's if I'd done my coursework?
Art and drama.
Art and drama. Why? Because I was interested.
That's what you were interested in. Yeah.
I was interested in performing like I am now. I was interested in drawing pictures and expressing myself like I do with all the jobs apart from the DPD job that I've been forced into. Like, it was proven. Maths. I don't want to learn that. English, didn't want to learn that. I was lucky when teachers liked me, right? I was lucky because they understood. Okay, Sam, he ain't very literate. Let's just try and get him through and entertain him. It's not ADHD. I just didn't want to be there. And granted, I wish I'd paid a bit of attention in some things, because now I get to life where I'm running my own business. I'm like, well, maybe I need to know a bit more about money and stuff like that, which they should teach at school more. In English, I've only, like, this last year learned the difference between there, and there, and do you know what I mean? Stuff like that. But I've got all right where I am. I'm just my Instagram posts aren't that great, but I'm not an English teacher, so hey ho, one of those. So then going from primary school into high school, what was it like being my mum?
It was very easy because
Easy life compared to Jason. Let's talk about my big brother. So what happened with him in high school? What happened with my big brother in high school?
He didn't finish schooling in high school.
Why didn't he finish school in high school?
Because he thought with his fists.
Thought with his fists? Wow.
With his fists, yes.
Come on, Mum being a philosopher. Instead of just saying he was a fighter and he liked to hit people, he thought with his fists. Wow. So he used to hit people before he spoke to them?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So then he got kicked out of school. So me just getting through school is better.
Yes, definitely.
Still overshadowed by our brainy older sister.
Yeah,
our middle sister.
Yeah, yeah.
She's very brainy. But she's ended up working for you anyway, so same again. What's the point in being brainy?
But she had other jobs prior to working for me.
She did have, yeah. I wanted to look after little brats.
She only worked with me because it was easier with regards to childcare and everything. Since having a family, but yeah, you in high school was you attended.
Thanks.
Well, you did. You attended. You were very similar to what you were in little school, where you, if you didn't like the subject, then you weren't very attentive towards it.
But the thing, like the way I am, like the way some people get from me is that I'm loud and obnoxious and vain and nasty. Some people could describe me as nasty sometimes, or outspoken, and they take that as a negative. But in school, I never tried to bunk off a class. Never tried to bunk off a day of school. If I ever left a class early, I felt guilty for days. I never lied to you. Do you know what I mean?
No, that's what I said. You attended.
I was there.
You were there, and fortunately, in your last year, you managed to get yourself together enough to do extra work after school to pass your exams. And without that extra help, you wouldn't have passed your exams. But I think it was just in those last few months you sort of got yourself together more and realised that you did need some of these things to go a bit better for you. I mean, as you said, unfortunately, with your art and drama, things didn't go exactly how you wanted them to, especially your drama.
But that was written work.
Yeah.
Which, same again, if you're good at drama, that normally says you're probably not going to be great at writing. Like, if you can express yourself like this now, I can express myself by talking on camera, having a conversation. You asked me to write this down, it wouldn't be great.
No.
So it's very, maybe something they need to change, that there shouldn't be much written. If it is, it should be in front of a camera they talk about it, or you have a conversation with the teacher and that's recorded and that's way. Please check out waxandrelax.co.uk. Because
I think they ought to be able to pick up on children that can't do the written as well as others. I think, when they brought in with the exams, when they brought in that you did coursework, it gave you a chance to write it and for it to be looked over and you could have help with your coursework, provided you did it in the first place. And I think that helped big time with GCSEs for a lot of people. Because there's a lot of people like you that know what they want to say but can't put it down on paper.
Well, I always could, but then they would struggle to read it because I wouldn't put any English, no commas, no full stops, no nothing. I'd change line, that's about it, and I would just write. Like now, I'd just speak. I would just write. I could write. I used to sit and write stories at home, right? Like stories and stories and stories, pages and pages. But it was really hard to understand because it was just straight sentence, just even like that. It was just a straight line, it's just line after line after line. So like you say, I think some things could change for people like myself.
I think it could. I think there's...
Because even now when I do a post on Instagram, or I don't know, when I'm going to post a clip from this, I would rather just write this episode or talking to mom. Because as soon as I'm about to post a video, that's fine. Editing a video is fine. Doing the video is fine. Getting the video is fine. Like the content. Then now I've got to think about. I'm like, I just can't be bothered. So it's like it really doesn't interest me to write like a paragraph. Because then obviously maybe it's because I'm a bit older now. So I'm like, I'm gonna have to think about full stops, think about sentences, think about this, think about for people to understand it. Because if you notice, a lot of my posts is just a paragraph with maybe a full stop put somewhere random, normally wrong. Alex messages me. She has to then get access to my account and she changes it.
Yeah.
But then obviously spellings are wrong and stuff like that. I'd rather just post the video for people to see than have to write what's in the video. But sometimes you have to, because some people don't take interest in the video straight away. They have to see what it's about. But that just explains again to me how the certain things I enjoy doing, and sitting down writing isn't the thing for me. Like this, the way the world's got at the moment with having meetings on Zoom and stuff's great for me.
Yes.
If I have a written meeting by email, that is, I can't stand that by email.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, I would rather just call someone and text someone.
Yeah.
So it's good because have meetings, you express yourself, you speak about it. As on email, I can't express myself because obviously the writing is the hard thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't think it's, even if I learnt to, I still don't think I would enjoy it.
No.
Even if I learned how to write and spell properly, I still don't think I would enjoy to do it.
No, but there should be a different way of teaching people like you, without trying to make you do it. There should be a way in school. Like at one point, they were bringing in the people that weren't that way inclined. That in year 10, 11, they let you go off and do like a course somewhere and do something manual, but that didn't happen for very long. But I think that was good.
Well, they have started to do, like so with Jake, my nephew, your grandson, my brother's learn. So he does BMX racing, and they're allowing him to do that for his GCSE PE.
Oh right, I didn't realise that.
Which I think is a great thing, because if he's not interested in football, not interested in rugby, not interested in running, cross country, well, that's all they offer at school these days. I think my school's probably the ones that offered gymnastics, until that went tits up. That's a story for another day. We'll get Neil in for that one. And now offering him that, then PE's gonna, because we know Jake, he likes a bit of football, but way more interested in his bikes. So for him to be able to do that as a school thing, they should start to look at that as how much that's going to help him to then be able to help them with like English, maths. How can we do it practically, or how could we talk to him about it, or how, because I can see Jake is just like me and just like Jason. Jason went the wrong way about it, was he just didn't want to listen, whereas I was like, okay, I'm not interested, but I really need to just get through school. I think Jake's a bit like that. He's just a bit like, I don't want to sit here and listen to mathematics. Like his dad's very active, which is then where that label of ADHD comes from.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't want to be there.
Yeah.
Like, give him a bike to break up and take apart. He's fine. Like Jason, give him an engine. Give me something to mess with. Build this podcast studio. I'll do it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yes, yeah.
It's not ADHD. It's just I don't want to sit watching someone.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's a great thing that they're starting to do that. They're starting to think, okay, not everyone likes the sports we do at school. So let's let them do what they're doing outside of here. So I think cheerleading's starting to come into it. They're allowing people to do cheerleading. A bit like Duke of Edinburgh used to be kind of thing, but they're letting it come into school.
Yes,
they just
yeah.
have to go and I don't know how they're assessing it. We'll have to speak to Jason about that. So when you said I said ADHD is not a thing. What you said it is. What do you mean?
Because it's proven that ADHD, some children do have ADHD, and there's like certain criteria that they have to, they look into, and they can prove that some children do have ADHD. Attention deficit. I can't remember.
Something disorder.
Yes, yeah.
So it's
yeah.
They don't want to apply their attention to the shit that's going on in front of them.
I think some of it is, yes, definitely.
Why not just change the school structure than telling a child of 15, how old's Jake? 14 years of age. I went right either side there, that was close. Good uncle, 10 points. Telling him that he's got a disorder. Because then, not just how it affects the parents, but how is that going to affect the child? Maybe the parents don't tell the child, but if the child finds out, they've been branded, they've got a disorder. How does that affect their mental health? Like, even more. And then to be at school thinking, oh my God, I don't want to sit listening to this boring person talk about maths because I've got a disorder. Because I'm ill. Because I'm this, because I'm that. Like,
I know.
I just think, I think when you go like the other way, when you've got something that, you've got an actual illness that there's something missing, or there's something been affected in the body or in the brain, or there's a chromosome missing, or there's something happened in birth, that's fine. You can state there is a problem. But when someone just doesn't want to sit still, how can you give that a disorder? And like I say, I would definitely have been branded with ADHD. And if I got given it now, I'd probably be branded with ADHD. Like,
yeah, you probably would.
I can't apply my attention to nothing, to literally nothing. Like now, I'm moving. I have to keep messing. I have to keep doing. I can't just sit and I'm talking to my mum. That's all I'm doing. Like I definitely would have been branded with it, and I definitely would have given him a middle finger. So let's go away from me now. I think a great topic would be is what's it like growing up as a single parent, single mother with 3 children.
Hard work. Well, it is.
Did you have a lot of support from, obviously nowadays you can have a lot of support from government, a lot of support from groups?
No. I didn't help myself, to be honest. I wouldn't look for the support. I didn't want people's help as such.
I think a lot of parents would be like that.
Especially when it first happened. I think I blame myself that we were in that situation. And I think it took me at least 6 months for even the neighbours to know that we were on our own, if not longer. Because at that time your dad was working away from home for fairly long periods and coming home at weekends.
How could you do that to yourself? I understand it when you have these. There's probably, like I say, probably a lot of other mums out there or dads out there that have the same thing. Someone walks out on them, they try to think it's their fault. How long did that take for you to come around and think, well, actually, he rocked in and just said, "I am not in love with you. That's not your fault."
No, but you still get that feeling that what have I done wrong? What could I have done different? How could I have been different?
Was there any bartering? Was there any?
No.
He made his mind up.
He'd made his mind up and he went. I mean, I don't think I could have done anything different. I mean, I'll hold my hands up and say, we argued like any parents, married people, whatever, argue, but mainly about children, money. But other than that, there was no reason for it to happen.
Don't argue about money.
Well, you just do.
I get in
don't you?
arguments with people about arguing about money. The money is not the be all and end all.
It's not, but it's a good thing
need
to
it
have, isn't it?
because the people who are in power make us have to have it because you can't afford to do anything. You can't even live freely. Please check out waxandrelax.co.uk without having money because they own the land. Every bit of land is owned in England. So you can't even say, well, you know what, I'm not going to have a job. I'm just going to go and live in a tent on this land. Well, you can't because it's not your land.
No.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
Anywhere is not a land in England. You go to Scotland, then you can free camp. You can free live. So you do need the money, but money is not the be all and end all to break down a relationship.
No. As I say,
unless someone's got a gambling habit or
with
something like
with us, that wasn't what it was. I could never pinpoint it and never will pinpoint it. And I mean, you know that. But
it was my fault, wasn't it, Mum?
I had a lot of pleasure out of bringing the three of you up. All three of you appreciated what I did for you, and still do now. And I have the pleasure of seeing you three now, the other two with their families, you with Alex, and it just gives me the great pleasure to know that I've brought you up, and you've all ended up as very decent, law-abiding people, all three of you.
Jason's not law-abiding.
Jason is law-abiding.
You don't get this just about my big brother, guys. He was a bit of a runaway child.
But was part of that because of when your dad left?
Yeah, more than likely.
And I think it was.
Yeah, more than likely.
But, as I say...
How did that affect the other two? Because I was only 2, so I wouldn't have been affected. I'm only affected now when I want to know. When I want to know things like... Guys, you're actually learning things now that I've never even known. So, like, this is big exclusive. Me and Mum have never really spoke about this. And Dad won't speak about anything. So, what was it like for the other two? Being older, they knew what was going on.
Yeah, I think that the main thing they lost out on was holidays. I know that sounds horrible or strange maybe, but as a family we used to have lots of holidays when we were all together. We'd got the caravan and we used to just go off as and when we could and what have you. And I just hadn't got the money as a single parent to have holidays. And Claire will tell you that her holidays for several years was cub camps when we used to go take the cubs away. And that was just local, it wasn't even the seaside. And I can't remember the first time you would remember seeing the seaside, probably a day trip to Blackpool or something. That was the main way that they were affected. Money-wise, they probably weren't affected that much because when your dad was with us, we hadn't got a lot of money anyway. So other than me struggling to pay the bills, they probably weren't affected much by that. Neither of them were the sort of children that wanted your Adidas or your whatevers. They were quite happy as long as they got clothes on the back and shoes on their feet. They weren't into all the special stuff. And Claire, I think Claire and I got very close, and I think that was with her being the daughter, and the age that Claire was, that everything we did, the three of us did. I mean, she had a big part in bringing you up in your first few years because, like as I say, we spent a lot of time together, the three of us. Jason, as you say, he tended to fight it, I think. Probably again my mistake. I didn't go into either schools and let them know what had happened. The fact that that your dad had left, which was probably the wrong thing to do.
Same again though, because when you feel like it was your fault, you're gonna feel like everyone's looking at you like it's your fault. So you go and tell the neighbours. They're like, "Oh, you'll be thinking, oh, what's she done?" Go into school, let the school know. Oh, what's Miss Thompson been up to? Like, why is Mrs. Thompson? Why has he walked out? Like, if you think it's your fault, you ain't gonna want no one to know because then everyone's gonna be looking at you like it's your fault.
That's right. That's right.
Which is obviously it's a horrible situation to be in. So how long did it take you to come out of that, to realise, you know what? he's lost out?
I don't know really. I think I just got on with life, and I'd got you three that I just got on. I couldn't work obviously because of you being so tiny. I did manage to get help money wise. I lost the house because I couldn't afford to pay the mortgage, but managed to get into rented accommodation and could get help with that. And life went on, and up till now, my life is you three and my grandchildren, you know, and my work, obviously.
She's a business owner.
But
at the age of 68. 68?
68,
Oh, hey, 68. She's a business owner, very successful lady, and that's where I get it from. And so do the other two. Like I said, I think you are right. I always think how different my life would have been if Dad was here, and you say it wouldn't, but I think it would, because being a bit more comfortable might have made us less driven. All three of us. So especially me, seeing you do what you've done, and Dad was around less and less and less as I grew up, whereas the other two had him there a bit more. Maybe seeing you that driven, and it's just that bit in the mind like, oh, well, that's how driven I need to be. Whereas if Dad would have been here, things would have been slightly easier. So would I have been as driven?
Yeah, true. Yeah. See, I probably wouldn't have gone into my business.
And I don't think Dad would have let me do cheerleading either.
Your dad wouldn't have stopped you. That's a big part of my life as well. But yeah,
I was going to say, so
yeah.
Go into hobbies. What was it like when you had a son who wanted to dance?
It didn't bother me. You know, Claire. In fact, it was easier because Claire was dancing at the time, and you just joined her along at the same time.
So Mom's one of these moms guys that she goes in. If you've got a hobby, she's in, and she's all in. So when me and Claire danced, she was in, all in, making sequin costumes. She was there, part of the committee. She was there on show nights. She was there the day before show nights, the day after show nights. Then we moved on to... Did I move on to the marching band first, or Claire?
Claire was in it before you.
So marching band...
No, you were. You were in it first, sorry. You were in it first.
I started that one.
Yeah.
So, same again, another performance thing, which is what led on from my school, which, like I say, lead on from when I was a baby, when I was active, not wanting to sit down at school. I just wanted to do things that were performing and putting myself out there, and I loved to be in the limelight. Dancing did that. Then I realised dancing wasn't really the thing for me, so I went into playing the drum. I actually played a snare drum, and I played wind instruments
before
wind instrument
that,
first,
you had to.
and then I was like, dude, that's not cool enough.
You had to play wind.
So I'm going, I want to play a drum, but then I picked the drum up, and the drum, what are they called now? Band manager, who is now Mom's actual business partner. She was a bit annoyed because I could play wind, but also I could play drums. Really wanted to put me on drums, but as Mom just said, their thing was you had to go wind first. So she was like, I really wanted to play drums. And this was only at the age of what? I was young.
You were about 10, I think.
Yeah, I was young.
10, something like that.
So I played the wind for a bit. Played every different instrument you could play. Same again, I was always given the attention-seeking instrument. Always the big instrument.
Yeah.
On the tiny instrument that was just different to all the other instruments. And then I went on to play drums. And I used to play snare drum. I used to play quads. I used to love the quads.
Bass drum first.
And whatever it was, I tried to make it cool. And I'd wear shades, and I'd like to show off, and I'd write most of my own music, or the drum lines music. And I used to love it. It was mainly showing off, like on a carnival or on the field, was the showing off aspect of it. It wasn't like that. Oh, I love marching bands, or I like drums, I like rhythms, and I like moving. But it was more the showing off. I loved to like not even look at my drums and just stare at people, and they'd be like, "How's he doing that? Not even looking down." But then obviously growing up, marching bands aren't cool. They never seem to be cool. Even in America, they're not classed as cool. So then I found gymnastics and, trampolining, gymnastics. I would say we're going on. Mom became part of the band. She's actually still in the band now. So 68 years of age, she's in the band playing the drums.
No.
What are you doing now? Playing the bells now. So she goes on marches. She marches around playing these bells and that. But she started as just being a mom, but then she was part of the committee, and then she was part of the service team, and then she was helping before and after and that. So she's one of these moms that's just all in. Then we went on to trampolining. You didn't really get involved much with trampoline, did you? That was very a single sport. Yeah, we were locked away, weren't we?
Yeah.
We were locked away with our coaches and our team, and that was it, really.
I helped when I could.
But then trampolining kind of showed me that I am a performer and I like being in front of people and showing off, but not alone. Alone doesn't worry me. I'm better at it now, but at the time, trampolining, I just couldn't get away with it. I used to get angry.
Yeah.
I used to get halfway through a routine, and if I'd done something wrong, it was going through my head that I've just done that wrong now. Everybody knows I've done it wrong, so I used to get off. I used to stop halfway through a routine and get off. I didn't even try and get it back. I'd just get off. Then through trampolining, you weren't involved much. Then went into cheerleading, which then literally found where I needed to be. It was that team aspect of like band and dance, mixed with the performing of dance, the music with the drums and the dance as well, and the band. But then put into that a group of people, not alone. And Mom just became #1 fan. She's travelled to America every time I've been out there. She's not missed a time. 5 times we've been out there now. She's actually made
5 or 6, isn't it?
Made friends with another team, some moms that I don't even associate with, just so she can have people to travel out there with. Because I was always like, I'm going out there as a team and I'm staying as a team and I'm there to compete and get in my zone. I have to focus and be all in or not all. But she's supportive mom. Even when I lived in America, she came out with that same group of people, organised their own trip. And came out there to support me there. So, like I say, with that going back to Dad being at home, you showing me growing up how strong you are, to then also support as much as you do, if it's going to cost you thousands, even when you stop paying for things for me, it still costs you thousands to get out to America. To keep supporting me, which then keeps me driven to keep doing what I'm doing. And I always come back to you for the, do you think it's a good idea, Mom? And you never really tell me no, ever. You always like, no. Just go for it.
Yeah, I do.
Just go for it. If it works, it works.
You'll always regret it. If you don't go for it, you regret it. And you think of the things you've done in your life. You know, and as I said to you, the opportunity's not always going to be there. And you go for it, you know, like when you changed your job, you know, like when you decided to go to California. You know, they're things that once you settle down, you won't be able to afford to do, and you'll regret not having done, which is, you know, I don't think it's because I never had the opportunity to do it, because I don't think I was driven that way to have done it. I was quite happy with my life. And doing what I did.
Well, it's being shoved into that, and you got to look after 3 kids now. Nothing else. I can understand that probably nothing else then comes into your mind to want to do anything, because you just got 3 kids on your own to look after, and that's it. Then you've got your little bubble, and you're ready to rock and roll.
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's finish that episode there. I hope you enjoyed that, guys. I definitely did. Like I say, you have just learnt stuff that I didn't even know. I hope my mom has empowered single parents, not just females, but males too, because there are a lot of them out there, as well as females. I hope things she said has gave you that little bit of glimpse and hope that you can hold on, and you can come out of it. That it's not the be-all and end-all to be in a couple, and that you can be strong enough to push through, and you can come with 3 pretty good kids out of it. Like I say, you see Jason's background, but he's turned into a great adult and a great father, a great brother to me. I was loud, obnoxious, vain. I am, but I'm not nasty. I've got the biggest heart in the world. I'll help anybody out. Just because I'm loud doesn't mean I'm bad, like, do you know what I mean? No. And just because I didn't want to listen at school, or I was naughty at school, doesn't mean that I am not there for people, and I'm literally full of love.
I think some of your teachers would be quite proud of how you've ended up, if they could see you now.
Thanks, Mum.
From what they probably thought you were going to be, you know. Same with Jason as well, you know.
And Claire is a very strong, awesome parent too, to two beautiful children. And same again, she could have really been struggled by it because she saw her mom lose someone, and Claire's going through a lot. And she's probably got her strength from you, from seeing how you've come through. Is you don't even think about it, but mentally, what she's going through now, she probably gets it from you. And not even like lessons of talking to like this, just seeing what just kids watch, we always watch. So just seeing how you've reacted to situations, especially in the age where she would have known what was going on, she's seen you do that, and that's just ingrained in her brain to now deal with what she's dealing with. That'd be another good story for the podcast.
It would.
So I hope you enjoyed that, guys. It's the first of probably many of getting to know who Sam Thompson is and what the Coffee with Sam podcast is. The Coffee with Sam podcast is this. It's inspiring people. It's bringing real life stories to your ear holes and your eyeballs through YouTube, and making everyone know that your story is probably not the only person's story. Someone out there has gone through the same story as you. So the Coffee with Sam podcast is to inspire real life stories to people. And I am Sam Thompson, and that's what you're starting to learn about me. You just learn it firsthand from Mum. I'm probably going to do loads more of these, just so you really get to know who I am, because Instagram only goes a certain far back, and no one really knows who I am. I was a cheerleader, or you know me from the Freezer Party podcast. Yeah, follow that Freezer Party podcast. You know me from that, so you think I just like watching fighting or whatever. So time to get to know who Sam Thompson is and who the real Sam Thompson is. Thanks for listening. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Make sure you share the YouTube. Make sure you subscribe on every podcast platform going. Apple, Google, Spotify. Make sure you share. And you can also contact me, guys, straight to me, the Coffee with Sam podcast at gmail.com. Send me your questions. Send me your likes. Send me your thank for inspiring this. Or let me shout out to a guest that I've had on that's helped you. So yeah, thanks for joining me, Momma Thompson.
Pleasure.
Thanks for the pancakes.
Thanks
for the coffee. I hope you enjoyed your pancake day. What's it now? It's Pancake Day, post Pancake Day. What is it? It's Boxing Day. What do you call the post? What's the day after a day that's happened? Post Pancake Day. I hope you enjoyed your pancakes. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Tune in next week. Much love, people. Love you all. Bye.
Say, goddamn. You said, all right. I said, let's do a podcast. Let's sit down. Let's get a coffee. Let's just talk about 1, 2, 3, 4. Coffee with the Sam. Got a little podcast. Grab yourself a little coffee and a podcast.